So 2.6, is that where we're on? According to my thing on the board. So I am on page 42 of the notes. Let's do it. So if you don't see me on Monday, you know that the TikTok of the slapping 9 News got a hold of and like, oh. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, literally.
All right.
Yeah, but then all the videos you can say, no, Brookham, don't do it.
No, don't do it. You did it.
Brookham did it the hard way.
What page note?
Page 42. All right. So, yeah, I know this doesn't look quite as fancy as the one that's there, but basically, we have a line of best fit. We have some data points that are either above or below it. Looks like maybe one of them falls on it. Okay, so, it's 43, I'm sorry. So it's 2.6, or 2-6. I just couldn't read the number at the bottom. All right. So each data point is an actual observation. In other words, some individual produced a score. So do you agree that some of the scores are above the line at a certain distance, while others are below the line at a certain distance? Okay? So we can say the things that are above the line are like an overestimate. The ones below the line are an underestimate. Okay? So of the observations, the regression line indicates instances where response variables were below the model's prediction. Some of them are above. So we just talked about that. So I want to just talk, and this is going to be quick, and then we have a bunch of time to do it. We're going to talk about residuals. Okay? That's just a distance above or a distance below. Okay? Can we have a point that's way crazy? Sure. Okay? We saw with our box and whiskers we could have outliers. So that can also take place with data. There's no instances that data points are exactly on the regression line, but such an event is certainly plausible. In a case, the response variable would be exactly that of the model predicted. Take a look at the data point. So they have 7 and 9, they're saying, so I just have to indicate where those are. Let's see, where's 7? 7 is like here. We'll call that data point 7, and 9 is like down here. So they have these two different data points. Both are relatively far away from the regression line. Those data points reflect instances where the resulting values of the response variable was very different than the predicted value. In other words, the regression model makes a relatively poor predictions for those specific observations or the results that are unusual in the data set. So we realize outliers take place. It does happen. It doesn't mean that our data is bad. It's just we indicate we had some values that were way off. Okay, data points 8 and 15. We'll call that data point 8, and I'll make another one. We'll call that 15. 8 and 15, both observations are very close to the regression line. These observations produce values of the response variable that was very close to predictions and the regression model. In other words, the regression model makes excellent predictions for those specific observations. A residual is the difference between the observed, so the observed value, of the response variable and the predicted. So it's the difference, subtracted, so predicted. Okay. How do we figure out those values? Well, can I figure out this XY point? Well, I hope so. We plugged into L1 and L2, so hopefully we could find that value. Could I find this value here? Well, again, it's a point x comma y, which is in list 1, list 2. Okay, so you can look back at your data going, where did this fall? And on the graphing calculator, if you just have your data points plotted and hit the trace command, it would take you to any of those particular points. Okay, so you could definitely figure that out. So the residual is the difference between the observed value and the response of the response variable. Response variable is x or y. Well, what's going on with our thing? Are we going vertically from our, yeah. So we have our response here. Okay, so observed minus predicted. So let's say we know that this point right here, call it red, let's make it perhaps 3, 5. Okay, and the reason we can get that point is we can find it on our calculator exactly, or we could have plugged into our linear equation. We could have plugged in an x value, and being if we knew the slope and everything, which we could get because of the calculator, we could find the exact y value. So this red point is an exact point. So I'm going to take whatever this y value is minus the actual y value. If I subtract the two, they're both y values. This is the predicted, so observed minus predicted. So observed above the line would be positive. What'd I do?
No, Scott just texted me and said, tell Stuart Bobby.
Okay. So if it's above our...
Like, what are you even talking about?
who knows? I think they changed the rule. Don't start coming late. I enjoy having you here too much.
Oh, I enjoy coming. Not at 8:20. No.
Hey, I've been here since 5:45. So.
Yeah, I don't even know
Yeah,
how
that's a
you do
choice.
it. Literally.
It's a great choice. There's nobody on the road. There's nobody in the building. I own the photocopy machines. The internet is so fast when there's one person on it.
When I have to go to work at 5 a.m., I literally
Stay up all night?
biggest fit. Like, I will make everyone know it's their problem that I have to stay and come in early. And my managers know not to call me at 5 a.m. It's 6.
All right.
Not yet.
So, as you can see, we have the observations above and below. The residual value, again, is the observed value. So you would look for the y value of the point. So if we wanted to find this observed value here, I would look for the y value here. And then I look for the y value here. Okay? So you're just subtracting the two. If you get a positive number, that means that you are above or you over... It's an overage on it in a sense. If it's below the line, it'll be a negative number. And it just tells you the direction that your data is above or below the graph. Cool? Pretty easy. Okay, why don't I give you the opportunity to try and have no homework over the weekend?
Actually, you're like, from this year, my favorite teacher.
Oh, you're just saying that because I control your grade.
So,
This is like a good way to start first period.
no, it really is.
Exactly.
You know, it's all downhill for me after this class because I got 3 CP Algebra 1s.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, quick question. Is anyone in here taking me for Business Calc second semester?
Absolutely not.
I have 35 students enrolled in the class.
Wait, this is your whole class.
This is, but Business Calc is only a semester.
We have you for second semester.
Some people do.
Maybe you signed up for 2 math classes.
Why would you do that? Yeah, no. Why do you have?
Because you could have stir up.
Yeah, but I just met you, so like, last year math was a little rough for me.
Come on, y'all should know you got the Rhinestone Cowboy as your teacher.
Miss Purple Hair. Yes.
I do.